Good. Hello, hello. Peace, YouTube. This is FleurBrun coming to this evening with some messages from the Niburians. So check on in. Peace, peace, peace. I know that I am coming on you um, post the war, which I told you was coming. Um, it's uh, a cloaked event. And we'll talk about it when everyone checks on in. So check on in, y'all. I can't stay long. I gotta have to be with my zombies tonight. Everyone's fasting for the eclipse. Are you prepared? So I'm a little sleepy teepy whenever we fast. It's just your energy is getting there, but fasting requires time, peace, and some just a little bit of a reboot. It's for a little bit of a reboot. So big up to all the zombies. Hey Oracle, hey Babette. Big up to all the zombies that are fasting. Okay. The fast for some of the zombies will end this evening. I'm going to continue. Hey Lori, I'm going to continue my fast in through the 3-3 portal on the eclipse. If anyone wants to join, it's never too late. You can do it tomorrow so that you can be in alignment with a purge. Remember, full moons, it's a blood moon. It's a 3-3 portal, which you know the 33. We're in ritual. We're in a false flag war of mass destruction, cloaking an event. And we'll talk about that. So I'm going to talk about the message that Niburians brought via my mother. So check on in. There's a lot going on, so I hope everybody's well. So if you are doing the fast would only be if you want to, again, this is a personal choice. The zombies are fasting. I know our zombies. Hey, Oracle, how's your fast? The zombies will be ending theirs this evening, and they will continue. They will reacclimate. Hey, Delmache. Hey, AJ. You want to do it until I want to do it through the eclipse, y'all. So who wants to join us? We'll be on Zoom tonight. You go on Patreon and you come on with us. So we'll be discussing the events. I haven't had a chance to talk to my zombies since, what was it, night before last. So Tuesday would be great because we can clear ourselves. Hey, Nola girl, we'll be clearing ourselves, purging. Full moon is about purging, releasing, exercising, exorcisms. Some of you need to exercise the demons out your gut. And remember, we are the change we want to see in the world. So sometimes when we do make a change and we initiate it ourselves, it allows for us to clear without being forced to or letting the matrix choose, the path that we should. So you can do a water fast if you like. You can do a bone broth fast, just without anything chewing, liquid, zero sugar. For all my beautiful ones out there, I know some of you are sugar bandits. Sugar during this time of year because you release the most parasites during full moons. Usually parasite purges, exorcisms of mass destruction happen during full moon. So it would be right in alignment. And if you want to just do it through Tuesday or Wednesday during the eclipse, the blood moon, the 33 portal, it would be great. So you can choose any which way. And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. I am a frog. And I can be apocalyptic. So decide what you'd like to do. So zombies, I'll be on right after. I'm not going to stay on with you guys. I promise I make the video. I just walked in the house. And I definitely needed to get the message out. Whenever I get a message from the Galactics or the Niburians, the Andromedans, I want to come in quickly because it's kind of like, I don't know if it's called temporal aphasia. But it's like when I get a message, I have to tell you immediately, even if I write it down, because I'll kind of like some of the information will fade and then I won't give you the message. So this message is from the Niburians and via through my mother. So many of you know my mother had transitioned in July. And if you were here with me, it's heartbreaking. Like, you know how close my mom was, and she loved all of you because she used to listen to the conversations and she would get such a hoot out of our conversations, especially the zombies. So my mother made the transition. Remember, she was the one who initiated me into Panic's world, which was like a labyrinth of the Taurus. So big up to Brother Panic and his brethren and his sistren and brotherhood up in the labyrinth. But my mother did come in and she opened up communication with the Niburians, which is interesting. So check on in. Okay, I hope everybody's well. Okay. Okay. Um, everybody warm, This is very interesting time. I also have a breakthrough of the biological weaponry that is being initiated, and I probably should make another video. Do you guys want me, because I'm not going to stay on long. I should probably make another video. So you guys, are you okay? I'll make the video on, um, how about Wednesday or Thursday? Is that okay, everybody? Can you wait for me then? If you're on Zoom, you'll hear about it. But I found out what most likely the biological weaponry is, and uh, and I want a 74 here today. 74 degrees, Delmache, in Georgia. What the heck? Pole shift is on and popping, y'all. The pole shift is on and popping. So, okay, so y'all, I'm going to give you the emergency information about the biological weapon. I'll do it like Wednesday or Thursday. Okay. So, for you guys who are patient, I don't do videos unless I have a message for you. I like to come on here only when it's important. And again, I want to give you this message from the Niburians about the false flag, geoengineered World War tree, apocalyptic cloak of mass destruction that is meant to cloak. Not only is it meant to cloak the pole shift, which we are halfway through, because to Rudolph of Germany, who basically confirmed that, and also it's the cloak, the Stargate, which Willy Wonka and his League of Doom are trying to get access to, because that Stargate, just like the one in Greenland, is very important, and they need to have access to it, because these motherfuckers are trying to jailbreak. They're trying to initiate something so they can get out of here. They think that this time they can get all of the keys and all of the access points on the ley lines so that they can leave. And we do know that these motherfuckers need to be quarantined in here, because as you see, they're already insidious. So check on in. When we get to 500, I'll start off. I hope everybody's well, right? Yeah, for the shenanigans, okay? So, and big up to the fasters, whoever's fasting. And again, if you are fasting and you want to join us tonight, you can always join us on Zoom tonight. I'll be on Zoom after I get off of here, okay? Zombies have been fasting since Thursday night. So the fast can be as short or long as you want. Many of you know me over the years, I always initiate fasting, especially seasonal fasting, but with the diabolicalness and the craziness going on now, we should probably be clearing ourselves, especially when the 33, you know how they love that 33, y'all. Mm. They love that 33. So, they're initiating that 33. They're already doing, assassination of children, because they do bloodletting, and they like to kill children because it helps to amplify their satanic magic, their Babylonian magic. And they're trying to leave out of here through that Stargate. They're trying to initiate all the Stargates on the ley lines before reset, y'all. So check on them. Once we get to 500, we'll start the conversation. 67 degrees. You guys are so lucky. It's cold where I am. I've been really chilly. Remember that song? I'm chilly, Willie the penguin. No wonder why I'm chilly all the time. I wiggle and I wait. Oh, gee, I wonder why. For goodness sake, I don't think I got the word. I'm chilly, Willie the penguin. No what? If you know that song, big up to you, because you're a Generation Xer. Do you know that song? Do you remember that? If you know Miguel Gorilla too, you're a Generation Xer. I remind you of your mom. Oh, I hope she was better and sweeter than I am, though. I have sweet moments, right? I have moments that I'm not diabolical. Okay. So check on in. We've got an eclipse, y'all. We are on the eve, well, soon to be eve of the eclipse of the 33 portal. We also have the blood moon in Cancer. I hope you are feeling the energies. If you're joining us for the fast, again, for those who are, make sure that you are, and again, I'm not a doctor or nurse, and I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm a quack quack, and I am a frog ribbit. I'm going to get my lily pad soon. I'm trying to get back to the jungle, climbing the trees with the jungle man. Okay. I want to swing from the vines of diabolicalness or non-diabolicalness. It depends on the moment and the mood, right? 55 degrees. You guys are feeling warm, man. I'm feeling the cool air, y'all. It's still chilly where I am. Okay, so hold on. We're almost to 500, and I'll start the conversation. And this is a message initiated for um 2026 for Taurus rat. Ooh, you a Taurus rat? Come here, rat. I love you, rat. There's not many of us, rat. I know they call us diabolical, but I actually think we're a lot more purposeful than they give us credit for, right? And we are the favorite of the Matrix, right? Matrix, right? We know how to get in and out. We know all the secret places. We know how to hide. We know where to get all the goodies. We know where to go in and get our people out. We know where all the traps are, generally. Okay. So, oh, we have our francophonic Canadians in the house. Canada's in the house. Hey, Canada. Bonsoir. Comment ça va? Someone said that me speaking French was diabolical. You do know that's what I come from, right? But I think I speak English amazing. How about that? Isn't it kind of cool to speak another language and your English is phenomenal? The best of many worlds, right? I never got to complain about my French from anyone. Usually they like the different tongues when you speak a different language. Just saying. Okay. We're almost at 500. Check on in. Okay. uh, it is fois. You know what fois is? Trois fois. Trois fois ici. Check on in. Okay, so I think we're almost at 500 and we're going to start. So I'm going to start. I love when I hit the 500 because it makes me feel so good. Okay, wait. I know I came on preamp. I know you guys were waiting until I came in on at exactly 10 p.m., but I had to come in earlier because I have to talk to my Zombies. Ah, here we go. Peace to the east, west, north, and the south. Can someone do the timestamp, please? Peace to the east, west, north, south, the south. This is FleurBrun coming to today, this evening, with a message from the Niburians via my mother, who's transitioned. So check on in. So I want to give a shout out to my mom and my dad, who transitioned to my grandmother. My mother has I don't ask me how. Maybe I don't want to waste a message on this. I don't know how she's doing it, but she's able to have contact with me and she initiates opening and she's given me messages. That's how I'm able to verify when people are doing diabolicalness and things like that. She's actually been a great help to the zombies as well. So, was it the night before? It was the night before, because I think we're in, what is it, Sunday? The night before, my mom had been coming to me for a while, and it's kind of strange when she does it, because it doesn't always, I guess it doesn't make sense when she does. Like, I don't have like a code or SOS for my mom. A lot of there's other people that transition that have been coming. So for some reason, her transition and before has become made me a little bit of a medium, kind of like the radio. And I think for many of you who lost a mom, I think it's very unique to the mother, is like because we're connected to their umbilical cord, especially if we're really close to them before they transition, like it's almost like that cord isn't disconnected. Like I felt it, but I literally, because the love keeps us connected still, depending on how close you were. And she's actually allowed me to interface with her through the dimensional quantum field. It's interesting because I don't think I've ever. I would have to ask if anyone lost a mom and it was like that. I think because we were so close and the love was so strong. So my mother had, come to me a few times, but she kind of opened up. And this time when she did, there was kind of how do I call this? Like a I wish I had the sound in my head like woo, woo. I don't want to. It's like a radio station. Like you remember the old fashioned radio stations back in the days where you hear like woo, woo. I can't explain, like when you're changing it and it's kind of dialing in. So with this time, I remember her calling me and then I was sitting down doing something. I was like, why would she be calling me now? And then she's calling me again. And then I heard this woo, 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 woo. Now, if any of you remember that previously I talked about these black, I got to use it that way because people will say, oh, it's not black. Because yeah, dark male soldiers or warriors. Remember I gave you a message, I think it was last year or the year before. I think it was last year. about their message about not getting involved. There were going to be some things happening that were purposeful and weren't for us to interface and get involved. So this message is what was from the Niburians, but when I heard that sound, I heard again, and I think some of you remember when I talked about the message I got from these male black extraterrestrials. Like it was a sound of like an instrument, kind of like a harp. I talked about that before. Some of you, do you remember that? It was like a harp, and then it was almost like you heard it, and then the voice came almost like if something's tuning and you hear it a certain way because your brain is perceptualizing something that it does not have a correlation with, it doesn't have a way to define it. And then eventually, because you tap into the quantum range where you match, then you get the sound, you get the frequency, and get the talking. Okay, so my mom has initiated that with the Niburians, and I kind of, when she called me, there was like a fine tune, like tuning in, and then I heard emergency, emergency, and I'm like, what the heck is that? So I'm listening, and it's low at first because again, like you hear the sounds of like a tuning in a frequency, and then it's like you hear like an emergency, and with that I can hear someone talking audibly like in the back of my head. Now let me explain this, y'all. I am drug free, I'm alcohol free, I absolutely am sane in an insane world. I have moments where I question my sanity though, so don't get it twisted. um I'm non schizophrenic, at least not today. So when I tell you and share these things, I'm speaking from a very sound mind. I'm very purposeful. I'm functional in my life with my children. So I have to say that because a lot of times I'll be like, oh, she's just schizophrenic. For those who've known me over the year, you already know sometimes when I get messages or meetings from some of the beings, it doesn't come um, in the way that one would think or so on. Okay, so I get an emergency, emergency. Stargate access denied. Stargate access denied. So in my mind, I'm thinking, what's saying it? It's not a person. It's almost like a broadcast that maybe I was not in English, maybe was in a Martian language. But remember, the fine tuning is like just like with the black extraterrestrials. It it literally gave a sound of music until my brain had the capacity, or almost to tap in to that radio, that station, and then there's reception, and then there's there's messaging going back and forth. More so receiving because I'm listening rather than talking because I'm trying to decipher what I'm hearing. So emergency, emergency, Stargate denied, Stargate access denied. And I'm thinking to myself, what are they talking about? Like I'm listening and it's low, it's not high. And then at the same point I'm hearing this, I'm feeling like a I'm feeling like my belly button. How can I explain it? Like my belly button pulsing. I don't know, kind of like a, I think like pulsing. I can't explain it. Anyone who's had children before, when you're pregnant and you kind of feel when the baby's there, and when you're first pregnant, you feel like the little ball in your belly button. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? It's like a pulsation, like a vibration in the belly button, and it's kind of like a breathing feeling, like a kind of like a, I can't explain it, like oh, hold on, I'm getting transmission. I get a little bit in my ear. Kind of like a, how do I explain it? Like a pulsation, but like a breathing in and out, almost like it's a portal, like a, I can't explain it. Like a pulsation in the belly button. I can't explain. Like I've if you had a baby, you understand, like that feeling when the first time you feel your baby and you feel like your belly button kind of cinching. It kind of feels like that. So you're very conscious of your belly button because you know what it's like to feel that with it connected to a baby inside. I don't know any way to explain it. I try to be very detailed with you so you get an idea. So emergency, emergency, Stargate access denied. And as I'm listening and I'm feeling the message rather than now I don't see anything. I heard my mother initially. That's who first called me, and then the tuning, and then them coming in. So, what I'm hearing is now, remember what I told you that I personally know that there is an earth, old earth, and there's a new earth. And the new earth is where all the technology is, where everything is geoengineered. It's ran by AI. The custodians are running it. It's a controlled environment. It's holographically based. The old earth is where many of us came from, which I talked about being Nibiru, Planet X. So basically, I'm telling you that we're pulling off the station. And we talked about this before, how I was saying you got through the gate, you went over the bridge, the Rainbow Bridge, went through the gate, and we're waiting for separation. And I know a lot of times, like a heartbeat. Who said that? Thank you. Yes, like a heartbeat. You're amazing. Is that what you said? Thank you. You knew it probably happened to you. Did it happen to you too? I would never. That's exactly what it felt like. Oh my God, you got it. I love. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, fire. Tire, is it fire? Thank you so much. You got it. I can't believe you got it. It's like you just, unless you probably felt that before. I couldn't explain it. It's like a pulsation, but it's like a heartbeat in your belly button. I can't explain it. Um, so fine tuning comes, and I talk about the old earth moving away from the new earth, which is the diabolical ones, the technological ones, the ones who want to turn you into, transhumanism, into bots and cyborgs. They want to replace your organic parts with synthetic ones. That's why they're putting a whole bunch of Mogellans in the food, in the sky, because they want to Wi-Fi you and control your thoughts. That's why a lot of people hear things, as soon as you think something, it comes on your phone. Anyway, I'm sidebar. So the message is that um we're getting um initiated into a higher form of consciousness, a higher form of um we're being initiated into a higher wavelength. Please write that down. Oh my God, I gotta write everything down, y'all. We're being we're being initiated into a higher wavelength. So what the diabolical ones are doing is they're trying to lower us and anchor us to this realm, so that when we're moving away with as the old earth Nibiru, they're trying to make us so fearful and put us in a state of like fight, flight, and fornication, so that we're anchored into the new earth and we stay here. So remember, I talked about the pole shift that happens, and Rudolph Germany did a great job at explaining that one of the ways that you know that the pole shift is right around the corner is that when they initiate World War III is when the pole shift is right around the corner. And part of the reason why they're trying to initiate a feeling, a low vibration, is because if you're unable to be light as a feather, like the concept of Ma'at, light as a feather, remember your heart gets weighed against a feather, and there's some validity to that, meaning that if your heart is too heavy, you anchor yourself in the lower realms. If you're light, meaning that you're light in your heart, you have a lot of love in your heart, you aren't as affected by things outside of you. You've done, things that used to be baggage on you, you've released, and um you've basically risen above a lot of the base level gaslighting, false flag events that they're trying to initiate. So with that being said, the I wrote some of this down, but it's not with me right now. So I'm gonna basically tell you what was told to me. We are right now, they're trying to initiate a world war scenario. It's to cloak the pole shift, but not only that, it's literally to hide their true intention of accessing all of the different portals and the stargates that link them linked together, causes like almost for them to be, they think that if they can access each of these portals or these vortexes and interconnect them, that they will be able to leave here. Now, I told you, these diabolical AI, Babylonian, Satanist, Darrow, reptilian, gray motherfreakers are part of the realm. They are the lifers. They are triple OGs that are stuck in this lower realm. They aren't able to leave for good reason. That's why we have such security and why we have a firmament that covers us and keeps us encapsulated in here with these diabolical prisoners of mass destruction. These are lifetime loopers. That's why the wealthier, the more diabolical you are, the more dark behavior you have, is the more that you're rewarded here. The more that you do the most heinous things is the richer and wealthier you are. That's why the word billionaire contains bill, which is B13, and ill, because they're mentally ill. They're psychopaths and sociopaths. Okay. A lot of them aren't even real. And if they are, they're hybridized or cabbage patch, generational cabbage patch children, the mud flood children that have been created in the laboratory. Remember what's his name said? What was he say? He said them test tube babies. Who said that, y'all? What was that comedian's name? I think what was his Harris? What was his name? Something Harris. He said, "You test tube babies." How did he know that? How did he know that there were people living amongst you that weren't birthed in the way that you and I were, that were sourced from the actual spark outside of it? Robin Harris. He said, "You guys are a test tube baby." Remember he said baby's kids, they don't die, they multiply. That's who he's talking about, y'all. He was talking about baby's kids was the mud flood, these incubator, these orphan trained children, right? These orphan trained children that were geoengineered in a laboratory, and they haven't any connection to source. That's why they have no feeling or empathy towards death. Look what they do. Look what they did. They just bombed a girls' school. They love it. They have no feelings, so they just want to do things almost like as curiosity, or they actually get excited by it. Also, they're satanic Babylonian ritualists. So whenever they kill children, it amplifies the effect of whatever they're trying to do ritual wise. That's why the war, generally the false war, the fake war, was created and geoengineered on Saturn Day. Centaurian Day, right? When it's the most chaotic day. And it's around a full moon, so they can initiate that. Use a 33, because it's a 33 portal during a blood moon, so they can initiate it during a horse year when most of the things are going through a quickening and events can happen faster. Okay? The satanic Babylonians. Every celebrity that you know, whether they are participants or not, they still by default and participating in some of the rituals unbeknown to them in their videos or their advertisements or the commercials, what have you. They are all a byproduct of the satanic Babylonian brotherhood, which are wand worshipers, penile worshipers. That's why they love a lot of homosexuality with men on men. They love men on men, anal cavity, tantric kind of behavior. They love to tap into the reptilian spine part, the reptilian part of your spine, the kundalini. They like to tap into it and put their worm inside of that area so they can hijack the spine, the lower spine, and they can take over your brain. That's why I tell you, sea stars and sun stars, stop doing anal tantric sex, because they will place a worm in that cavity and it will hijack. That's why a lot of times if you have anal copulation, you feel like you have to be with that person. You almost feel like you're drawn to them, like they have you under a spell. It's because it's not you, it's the parasite that they put in that area that has hijacked your brain via the spinal, the serpent spine. I apologize. Do you have any children here? Please put the little ones out of the room. This is not appropriate for them to hear. Okay. So let me get the message, because I will sidebar all day. Okay. So basically what I was told is that they are creating the war and they need to tap into all of the specific ley lines with each of the codes that come with each of the stargates. They're trying to access each of the stargates. One powerful one is in Iran, and it is the one, it's called Stargate 10. When you've seen the X's all over the place, you see the X, remember Sean Combs' lawn, you saw the X's on his lawn, you saw all the concept of, musty, dusty, Elon Musky, his whole meta is X, that whole thing with X has to do with the Stargate X. That is the last Stargate that they need to access. And you asked me why they had to, Covenant Mindoro from Venezuela and Cuba, they wanted to make sure that when they went to initiate a false flag war with Iran, they needed to make sure that they had no friends close enough to hit us to stop them from being able to access and to take over that country. So they had to disembowel Venezuela and Cuba to make sure that they did not have the power or the way to hit us, to stop us when we were going to go into Iran. Okay, and let me just state this: many of these so-called leaders are hybrids, and most of them are Deros. We found out that there's a Deros. Mandoro is a Deros, a Sephardi Deros. We found out that the one in Mexico is a Sephardi Deros. And the Sephardic generally tend to be the Spaniards. We're not talking about the ones from Ethiopia or from Africa. We're talking about the ones that generally are Brazilian or Spaniard. Okay, these are Deros. These are the ones who were, if you have a beef with being pushed all over the Americas and re-identified and shuffled all over the Americas, you can blame the Deros, the Sephardic Deros, and the Moors for doing that, because those are the bloodlines, that bloodline. And everybody looks at lunars and say, oh my God, they're diabolical. These aren't the leaders, y'all. These are just the cohorts of the diabolical dark lords, the black lords, the lords that you see on the walls of Europe. Okay, they have black faces. I think if you want to get some reference, Rod Hayes is a great literary initiation, a lot of information. He has a lot of receipts. These are the things I heard, but he actually has the receipts. So if you want to ask him, like, to show the receipts of who was here, when you look at the imagery, if you ever get a chance to go to Europe, you will see black faces, y'all. You really black. I'm not saying melanated, because I'm talking about a certain species. These are the ones who initiated what you conceived to be the so-called slave trade. It wasn't Europeans in the way that you thought they were Europeans, but they were black. Like remember Norman Brooklyn was like, the ETs are black. They're dark lords. These are who all these so-called fake cohorts, these groupies of the diabolicalness, these satanic Luciferians, those are the ones who they actually worship. Okay, when you look at, and I told you I was going to do this, I'm sorry, I haven't done it. I showed the zombies. When you look at Epstein's house and you see all his lamps and all his regalia and all of his designs, all of them had to do with blackness. They had to do with black Moors. All you see is old Kemetic statues. This man was obsessed with blackness, or was that who contracted him? Was it the Dark Lords who contracted him? So basically, what the Niburians are saying is that they're trying to access all of the portals and gain all the keys so that they can cause what is called like a plasmic interference with the firmament. And so they think that they can leave during the main part of the pole shift, because when the pole shift happens, there's a time frame where the gravitational pull will be basically nullified. And during that time, many people may, like in the movie Nope. Remember the movie Nope, when things were flying up in the air, almost magnetic? There's a concept, and I got to give a big up to Jay Dreamers, because Jay Dreamers did a wonderful video. Jay Dreamers is all about the plasma apocalypse. I got to give a shout out to Jay Dreamers. You got to check out his channel. I adore Jay Dreamers. He's a friend to the channel. He goes deep into what happens with the pole, what I perceive to be the pole shift, which is basically a plasma event, according to him, where there is a lack of gravitational pull and things start floating up, like in the movie Nope. Remember Nope? With, I think, the actor, when all of the jewelry flew off of him, like all the change and everything, it flew up. And then when it came down, it killed him with a nickel in his eye. Was it a nickel or a dime? I forgot that. I forgot what it was that fell in the actor's eye. You guys probably remember, right? So they're saying that they're trying to access that, and that everything that we're seeing, most is a lie. Everything, basically, they're saying that we're being deceived with agenda. We're being deceived with the initiation of a war. It isn't a war in the way that you think. It is basically an access. It is trying to get access to different ley line portals so that they can leave during the pole shift. That's why they're doing so much and they're pushing so hard, okay, during this time. They want to leave here, and they're going to use that time frame and the access to those portals to try to initiate during the time when the polar opposites, when a complete flip happens and we have a weird kind of um uh polarity, non-gravitational kind of aspect, that they can leave. That's why they did the penis shooting in the sky. They wanted to see how high, because if you notice, everybody, you notice that the sky looks lower. Is everyone noticing that? The sky looks lower. Remember, at this time, before reset and pole shift, the atmospheric, it's almost like the dome starts to recede a little bit. Almost like, when you have like the moon, when the moon is full, you get a recession of the water and then it comes back out. It's kind of like that. So the sky is really low. If you notice, it used to be that when you're around beaches, remember you were on beaches and you'll see like the atmosphere is really low. If you're near mountains, like sometimes it's a push down pressure. But now, since we're in a polar, halfway through the polar shift, the sky, the atmospheric pressure, that's why a lot of you are getting ringing in the ears. You're getting a lot of headaches. You're feeling like almost like you have like almost a storm is coming. You're feeling it because the barometric pressure, you're getting that a byproduct, a symptom of the barometric pressure changing and increasing that pressure, so you feel it in your head. It almost feels like somebody's like putting pressure like that. Your head just feels like it's too much. Okay, so that's because the sky is lower, that pressure is coming down, because during the time of reset and pole shift, there is this weird gravitational switch and change just for a short period of time. And with that pressure changing, that's when you get a lot of water. Remember, the firmament cracks. It always talks about, that's why they always, during this season, there is a what you perceive to be, it's always in the year, the age of Aquarius. And what do you see when you see the age of Aquarius, the person? What are they pouring down, right? You always see them with a ladle of water, and you always say, how is it possible that that's an air sign and they're pouring down water? Because this is a cool thing. It's because we're surrounded by water, and what you look up in the air, you think it's air, but it's water. So it's an air sign that's promoting itself as air, but it's carrying water, which is the sky, which is a firmament, which is water above, water below. We're surrounded, we're like in a snow globe. So when there's a time when that pressure cracks, literally cracks the seal of the firmament, water comes down. That's where you get all these mud floods. That's where all these events with the Tertiary Society. That's where you see like ancient Atlantis underwater. All of those ancient cities, those major ancient cities, are all underwater. You got to ask, when did that happen, and why does it happen during every single pole shift? Because during that time, the pole shift causes all this pressure. And also, my take on it is with the separation of the old Earth and new Earth, like a yolk, taking the yolk and separating it from the white, you get that effect as well. So the separation also causes like a destabilization of the atmospheric internal like pressure. And what it does is it also cracks the dome, allowing for all the water to come in. That's why I think tonight, Zombies, can you remind me, we're going to look at the map. And y'all, you can do this on your own, even if you don't join us for Zoom tonight. You can look at the atmospheric map when it shows you it's called the flood map, the global flood map, and it tells you how the water comes in during the pole shift. Like, if you notice, and someone said, FleurBrun, what are you talking about pole shift? With this, your Willy Wonka is totally they are they're trying to distract you, y'all. There's so many events that you cannot tell. There are so many things happening earthwise. There's places having hail right now. There's so many earthquakes. There are weird storms. When they had snowstorm in New York, they had thunder in the storm. You have all these geo anomalies that are happening because it's byproduct of the pole shift. You have places that generally are very cold and then they're warm. You have temperatures flipping, like in Georgia, when it was just 20, 30 degrees and then it's 70 degrees the next day. That's pole shift. Now, some of this could be geoengineered, and also Willy Wonka's adding their little bit of their zhuzh to it. but this is a byproduct of what happens every single cycle. So we're going to watch the flood map tonight. You guys can go look at it, look at yourself, because you'll see your location, because you'll see how fast the water comes in and each of the places. And if you aren't above a certain sea level, that water, if you look at the map, the first places that it hits the coastline, Florida's underneath the water. Parts of the outside of the coast is underneath the water. Louisiana's underneath the water. You got to look at the flood map. This is going to occur. It isn't an if, it's a when. And Willy Wonka's League of Doom wants you to look at a whole false war. They want you to pay attention to everything outside of yourself. They don't even want you to practice your own meridian or registry, meaning that you can pick up. If you're a biological natural entity, as a byproduct of birth out of a womb, you naturally would feel the earthquakes of the earth. You'll feel the geoseismic activity. You will feel the atmosphere changing because you feel it inside of yourself. This is all a byproduct of you being a natural sentient being that has a connection to the earth's atmospheric changes. So you will feel it. And that's why it's important. Like, we're fasting. Big up to all my fasters and zoomies tonight. We're going to discuss it tonight. All those who are brave enough to fast, fasting helps to clear and reset your system. Meaning that if you have muters, like most of the food that you're eating is geoengineered. And I'm going to make a video about the bioweapon that they've set out. And I found out which bioweapon that they did and some of the remedies. So Wednesday, if you guys remind me on YouTube, because sometimes I forget. I have a lot going on. Remind me on YouTube and I'll make the video telling you what's going on, what's a new bioweapon that they're setting out, because they're going to try to initiate this during your actual New Year's, which is the Darrow's Passover. And the Darrow's Passover, they will be celebrating their New Year's. And also Purim. Today is Purim. No, tomorrow's Purim. And Purim is the Darrow's concept of Halloween. That's why it's very important that you pay attention, because Purim is the day before, or is it a day of, Halloween to them, which is, what is Halloween to us? It's when there's a dimensional veil lessening, meaning the veil is almost invisible, means that things are coming in and going out, means that there's an initiation of spirits or activity with certain kind of energy that comes into the field because the veil is no longer there. So Purim is also happening, which makes the veil very thin, and that allows for some sort of initiation of activity, whether it's possession. And watch your family members, y'all, and watch your children. Possession is on the highest level. There's a lot of people killing their family members right now. There's a lot of violence in families. A lot of people are possessed. They are being possessed because they are doing diabolical things. They're eating food of mass destruction that is lowering their physiological fields, meaning your auric field, which puts little holes in it if you're not paying attention. So if you drink a lot, you smoke a lot, you eat a lot of diabolicalness, you're engaged in sexual deviancy, you hurt people, you kill animals, you have a lot of that those holes that are permeating your auric field, and allows for permeations. And now people are being mounted. And now, big up to our C star who went to and I hope this is okay me to mention. I won't mention your name. She went to a ayahuasca, a ayahuasca event, and she was watching people being mounted. There was one guy who was probably possessed. He was contorting his body, and he was moving his toes and spreading them out and contorting his body. Because remember, once people are possessed, a lot of times you get non-corporeals that get in access to that body. And when they do, these beings have not been in human form. So they don't know how to move your body. So that's why I tell you a lot of times when you get those extraterrestrials or those interdimensionals that go into people's bodies, the first thing you notice is that they have a weird walk. They have a weird crypt look. You know that crypt walk that everybody's saying? They got a weird cryptic look, like their hands kind of go wide because they've never had fingers. They're not able to hold their head up because they've never had a physical form. So be careful with people, especially now during a full moon. And you've got Purim. So Purim is the equivalent to what our Halloween is. And because of that, you may be susceptible to possession or mounting. And if you are diabolical, meaning that, and also sea stars, disallow from men accessing your anus cavity. Y'all, take the children off, y'all. I don't want to go too far because I'm going to mention this. Make sure you aren't having anal cavity sex because that is the best way to initiate having some sort of entity enter into a spot that can literally use your spine as a Wi-Fi antenna to access your higher your crown, and it can literally take over your synapses and start infesting you and infecting you with another kind of deity or energy. Okay, so be mindful of the kind of sexual deviancy, sea stars. And sea stars, they are trying to ruin your wombs. So be careful of initiating it because in order to leave here, to be feminine and to be a female is a passport to leave here. And that's why there's an XX. That's why they make such an obsession of X's. That's why they wanted all these men to dress like women, because they knew that that was a passport to leave here. It's not the only, but it is a passport to leave. So that's why, during this time, there's a lot of men dressing and trying to pretend that they're women because they're trying to hijack what women have natural capabilities of doing during reset, of having a passport to be able to leave if she's healthy and she's initiated herself into higher forms of consciousness and she's relieved herself of any density that's connected to hardship, pain, self-deprivation, self-loathing. So those things are very important, sea stars. Okay, so they're trying to take over female forms. Now, men, it is not. We talked about this again. Men, it's not that you can't have access the same. It's just your Y is a broken X, and you have a missing leg. And in order for you, and I love how the Matrix will qualify you, when a man is very loving, when he loves his children and his mother, when he is a pillar in his neighborhood, when those gentlemen, y'all, many of you know them. It's like the guys in your neighborhood who are always making sure they watch out for the elders. They're always making sure that they are helpful. Sometimes you see them going out of their way to walk a person across the street to make sure they're okay. They're always asking how everyone's doing. These are the pillars in our environment that have that missing leg etherically placed there, and they are qualifying their X. So by the nature of them being tapped into their feminine qualities, their beautiful higher form of femininity, they gain an etheric leg. That's why I said the only men that are leaving this realm during the ascension process, whatever you call it, the exodus, is the men that are loved by women who women love. And it's a natural love. It's not that he loves your yoni. It has nothing to do with that. He doesn't love you supernaturally. That's why I say the most likely the men who will be initiated and be able to leave because they've gained their etheric X by nature is men that usually have really beautiful mothers who love them, and men that are naturally loving and embodying and express their femininity in a very healthy way. Okay. So the message from Niburians, I keep going, I keep sidebarring. So the message from the Niburians is just make sure that you understand that what we're seeing on television is all a exasperated gaslighting, false flag, Daros initiating, pooping president, false flagging. Okay. And what I understand and understand, y'all, and that's why I say be careful with your hearts, because what they're going to do is they're going to try to lower you. Closer we get to pole shift, they're going to lower your frequency. And for those who cape for Trump and been caping for some of these people, and you see that he loses himself or something happens to him, what's going to happen to your consciousness when it happens to him? Will you lose hope? They want that. They want you to cape for someone that they plan to. Remember, they love to build someone up. They love to build them up so they can break them down, so they can break your heart. Remember the actor from Black Panther? Remember the actor from Black Panther? Oh, we love the actor from Black Panther. He played such a good role. He was such a good guy in person, right? And then what happens? They kill him. And someone says, oh, well, yeah, cancer. Now, that's a whole nother conversation. We know that they can socially engineer, they can weaponize things, they can triangulate people's bodies to initiate forms of all kinds of viruses and everything in your body. Remember Chadwick? He was such a sweet guy, such a decent man. And look what they did. Everyone, do you remember when Black Panther came out, how many melanated people went to the theater dressed up in beautiful African regalia? how happy I remember. I was shocked. I was living in Orlando at the time. Do you guys remember? And I took my daughters out there and I saw all these beautiful brown people so happy to bring their children. They were dressed up. It was such a beautiful sight, y'all. Some people be like, oh, it's a movie. What? No, they felt such pride in the movie. They felt connected to it. You know why they wanted you to feel connected? So they could break your heart. So they could break your heart, so they can make you love him, look at him as a hero, see yourself in him, so that when they murdered him, when they kill him off, you feel broken. You feel a piece of you is gone. They really love to do that to us. They love to do it to us because, especially the melanated people, we're so emotionally tapped in. We have such kinetic energy with our melanin. We feel it in our soul when we're connected to things. And it was so sad what they did. So what the Niburians said is that we have to release ourselves and to make sure we aren't personally invested in anything outside of us. We have to focus on loving ourselves, being a pillar in who we are to our own family members, to our own tribes, to our own frequency, whoever we are associated with. That they are going to try to tap in to get the access to the Stargate so they can try to leave, but they're going to make sure they make you stuck here. They're going to do everything to lower your frequency, including poison you and create another geoengineered virus and cause you to feel lack of hope. That's why they're initiating this war, which is a false flag. It is fake. It is meant to destroy your peace of mind. This is for the Niburians. They want you to be lower. They want you to be fearful. They want you to feel like you have no way out. This is what they want to do. They also want to drive possession. They want you to leave your body open to principalities so you can be mounted by diabolical non-corporeal beings that are now here that are going to be unleashed during Purim, because during Purim now they're doing rituals of killing little girls. So they want to bring in these non-corporeal entities to come in so that they can sit on your auric field and wait for you to have a low emotion, wait for you to get sick, wait for you to start doing diabolical things, wait for you to smoke a lot of weed, wait for you to drink a lot of liquor, wait for you to have diabolical sex, wait for you to beat your children, wait for you to not love yourself and hate yourself every time you look at yourself, wait for you to do the diabolical things that lower your bodily auric field so that they can mount you and they can take over your human form. And then, like Westworld, they can replace you with another entity so that you can initiate more diabolicalness in your local area. You could terrorize your children. You could terrorize your husband. You could terrorize your neighborhood because now you're mounted by something that is incentivized to destroy you and everything about you because it wants you to stay. It wants you to stay here. It wants you to be anchored into this low dimensional realm. The Niburians said so. I want to say I'm so grateful that I'm allowed to get these messages via my mother. Thank you to my mom for allowing this again, for her bringing me into Panic's world again. I don't know how she's doing it. I think it's the vibration of the belly button with the etheric cord that's still connected. I'm really appreciative to her. So I will say this, everything that you're watching on television is a lie. It is orchestrated and is geoengineered to make you feel and gaslight you. Some of these things are real. It's not saying that people aren't dying, that is happening, but they're trying to initiate you to feel the most dark and low vibrational frequencies so that you feel connected to it, so that you lower yourself and try to refrain. That's what they said. Don't connect to anything outside of yourself. Everything on television is geoengineered to make us feel a certain way. And again, they're going to build up like they built up Trump. They want to build up the orange gummy so that when something happens to him, those people who worship him, who love him, who put so much trust in him, who have faith in the things that he's doing, how do you think they're going to react when he's gone? How do you think they're going to react when they made him the big hope of golden age for all of them? What do you think is going to happen to these people when they no longer have someone to place all their hope and love and inspiration into? So That's my message, y'all. The pole shift is on and popping. Make sure you are, if you're fasting, big ups to everyone who's fasting, big ups to the Zombies who are fasting. If you want to join us tonight on Zoom, you can join us. I'm going to be going to Zoom right after this. I promise. It's almost 10 o'clock. I did a good job with the message. I think I kind of hit on the topic. You can join us. We'll be doing the fast through, at least I am. Some of the Zombies already fasted from Thursday. I'm going to continue. I want to go through my fast through Tuesday, through the 33rd portal, the blood moon, to expel any diabolicalness inside of me. So if you want to join us, that's great. You can join Patreon. You can come with us. We'll be on tonight. And we will be doing, I will promise you, you got to remind me, YouTube, because I have a lot of things on my mind. Remind me to make the most important video to tell you about the diabolical bioweapon that they're about to initiate, that most likely will come during their Passover, and will be initiated through our April 5th Easter celebrations, where you're going to eat diabolicalness and most likely be infected, so they can use another false flag geoengineered virus, but this one will be real, and they're going to try to do something. So remind me, y'all, because you always are really good to remind me. And I want to thank everybody. Let me thank people who make these wonderful donations. I'm sorry I don't mention them sometimes because I don't see them until late. I'm really appreciative. I know that you Cash App me, so thank you to Jonas who made a Cash App. I appreciate it. Thank you so much who do that. I appreciate everything, and everything you do, I put it out in the world. I want to be the change I want to see in the world. I want to be a great role model to my own family, which you know, and I want to be I want to make my parents proud on the other side. So, I try to be my best. I can be a little peppermint patty. I can be petty if I don't like what people do to me. But other than that, I'm pretty decent. Okay. So I will see you tonight on Zoom. Thank you for everyone joining. Oh, thank you, my love. You don't have to make a donation. Thank you, my love. I appreciate the most needed and first times. Oh, I thank you. Thank you. And put a heart on it. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thank you. And everybody here, be the change. The message from Nibiru is, don't put the focus on side of yourself. What you're seeing is just a false flag. It's fake. It's all theater. They're doing it, and they want to access specific points and references on the latitude, longitude, so they can try to get out of here. And we want them to stay locked in here, because when we leave, we want these motherfuckers to stay here. They're triple OG lifers, and they deserve to be here because they're out of control. All right, I appreciate you, everybody. Thank you again for the donations. Thank you for everybody, and I will see you, Zombies. I'm going to make my Zoom right after now, okay? And those who are joining the fast, you're more than welcome to join us, okay? So thank you. Mwah. Peace.